The restaurant was glowing with golden lights when Aira stepped inside, her hands trembling around the tiny clutch she held. She had promised herself she would never agree to a blind date again, not after the last one ended with a man recording her without permission. But tonight, something inside her whispered to try one more time. Maybe life still had one surprise left. She spotted a man sitting alone at table 7, where her date was supposed to be. Without overthinking, she walked toward him. He looked up, and their eyes met. His gaze was warm, unexpectedly gentle, and it made her heartbeat jump. "Hi, I'm Aira," she said softly. A strange smile touched his lips. "I know," he replied. She blinked. "You do?" "Yes. Please sit." She sat, relieved but confused. The conversation began, but something felt unusual. He was too calm, too observant, too composed, like someone used to controlling entire rooms. But before she could ask anything, her phone buzzed. "I'm at table 7. Where are you?" Aira froze. She slowly lifted her eyes to the man across from her. "You're not my date," she whispered. "No," he replied, his voice steady, "but I was hoping you wouldn't leave." Her breath caught. "I need to go to the right table." "No," he said gently but firmly. "Please stay. Talk to me. Just for a moment." There was something wounded in his eyes, something human, something lonely. Against all logic, she stayed. The unexpected connection, his name was Zaidan Hale, a billionaire, CEO known across the city but living like a ghost among crowds. She had heard the name before, but she never imagined meeting him at a restaurant. He didn't brag. He didn't flaunt wealth. Instead, he listened to her like she was the most important person in the room. And for the first time in years, Aira felt seen. But just as warmth began forming between them, a man stormed toward their table. Her real blind date. "What the hell, Aira? You're ignoring me for him?" he spat. Zaidan's expression cooled instantly, but he didn't move. Aira swallowed. It was a mistake. "I sat at the wrong table." "Yeah, a convenient mistake," the man snapped. "Get up. We're leaving." Before she could answer, Zaidan stood, calm, confident. "She doesn't have to go anywhere she doesn't want to." The man laughed. "And who are you to say that?" Zaidan stared at him, his tone dangerously quiet. "Someone who respects her." The man looked at Zaidan again, this time truly noticing him, and backed off, muttering insults under his breath. Aira's hands trembled. Her eyes burned. Zaidan pulled out her chair gently. "Are you all right?" She nodded, though her voice shook. "Thank you. Don't thank me. You deserve someone who doesn't treat you like an object." Something shifted between them. After that, an invisible thread pulling them closer. Their challenges begin despite the magical start. Reality wasn't kind. Zaidan's world was guarded, ruthless, and full of people who saw relationships as transactions. When photos of them leaked online, the gossip began instantly. "Gold digger. He'll get bored of her. She's using him." "Why her?" Aira cried silently at night, overwhelmed by attacks from strangers who didn't know her. She tried to distance herself, not wanting to ruin his reputation. But Zaidan refused to let her go. One evening, he arrived at her small apartment, drenched from the rain. "You're pushing me away," he said, hurt crossing his features. "I don't belong in your world," she whispered. "Everyone hates me." "Then let them," he said firmly. "I don't care what they think. I care about what you feel." "But it hurts," she said, voice breaking. "Then let me protect you," he pleaded. "Stop trying to shield me. I'm stronger than you think, and for the first time in years I want something real." Her tears finally fell, and he pulled her into his arms. The darkest moment. Months passed. Their bond grew deeper, but Zaidan's past caught up to him. A long-time investor, the same man who once tried to control Zaidan's decisions, demanded that he break things off with Aira. The investor claimed she was destroying Zaidan's image. Zaidan refused. Within days, the investor pulled his support. Zaidan's company faced a massive financial crisis, and thousands of employees risked losing their jobs. Aira found out from the news. Without telling him, she went to the investor and begged him not to ruin the company. She offered to disappear from Zaidan's life. The investor smirked. "Leave him, and I'll restore everything." Her heart shattered, but she agreed. That night, she went to Zaidan with shaking hands and a broken voice. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered. "We're too different. I'm tired." His entire face collapsed. "Aira, no, please don't say that." She forced herself to turn away. It was the hardest walk of her life. The turning point weeks passed. Zaidan's eyes lost their spark. Work became mechanical. Smiles became rare. Everyone around him noticed he was fading without her. One afternoon, his assistant burst into his office. "You need to see this." It was a recording security footage of Aira meeting the investor and sacrificing herself to save his company. Zaidan felt his chest tighten so badly he couldn't breathe. She didn't leave him. She saved him. And he had let her go. The reunion, he found her at the bus stop near her neighborhood, sitting alone, with tears running down her cheeks as she held a resignation letter from her job. He approached slowly, breath trembling. "Aira." She looked up, startled. "What are you doing here? You left to protect me," he said quietly. "But I never asked you to burn yourself for me." "You deserved success," she whispered. "I deserved you," he replied, kneeling in front of her. "You think I care about money? I cared about the woman who sat at the wrong table and changed my entire life." Her lip trembled. "I thought you'd be happy without me, Nur," he said, voice breaking. "Come back. Not for my world, not for the money, but for the man who loves you." Aira burst into tears, and Zaidan pulled her into his arms, holding her like she was the only thing keeping him breathing.